Mr. Ryaan Tuttle. How are you?
Doing well. How about yourself, Dominic?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's good to be back on the line with you. It feels like a while now since we talked.
I know it was great talking to you the first time. I just want to say thank you before we get started. Thank you for this opportunity. Super excited to speak to you today. I know you
Yeah.
got a great audience out there that's listening, so I'm really excited about this. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you are an energetic and focused guy, and I'll bet that people leave this episode feeling energetic and focused. So you're having an
I
impact. Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Ryan, before we get into it too far, why don't we tell people who the heck you are and why you would be talking to a worldwide group of contractor business owners?
Yes, absolutely. So just to get started, my name is Ryaan Tuttle. I was born and raised in Boston, Mass. I actually lived there for close to 38 years now. I live in New Hampshire
Mm.
with my family, a little bit outside, about an hour from the city. And I own two separate businesses, just about to start a third. But I own a remodeling business. I started when I was 25.
Yeah.
I've had that close to 15 years now. And then started another business about 4 years ago that's been super successful, award-winning handyman business with a completely different business model. And part of that has been the success of implementing a software which we use Jobber, and that's been super successful for us. That was something we didn't initially do with our first business, and
Right.
so once I started that second business, many years after, I realized that I was going to need something to help me run that business
Uh,
besides people.
well, I think the pace that business has grown may put you in my spotlight. I found out about you, and then I realized you were using a software to run the business, Jobber. So I'd like to talk
Hmm.
to you about that today. But first, the branding. The second company's website? Because it's really well done. You've got some great
Thank you
videos
so
on
much.
there.
Appreciate that. Yeah, besthandymanboston.com. That's a recent business we started. We're just going on 4 years. We're just hitting 4 years now. It's been an absolute success. And the reason that business was even started was because of the other business. I was going out on about 100, 150 site visits a year with the remodeling business, and just started to see a huge need, by listening to my clients and them grabbing me by the shirt every time I left and said, I know you're here for the kitchen or bathroom to remodel it, but can you just look at this small job? And
Yeah.
so after hearing that for a couple of years and seeing the building boom that was going on in the city, and we got a new mayor at that time and everything opened up, I started to look around, and there was, a huge demand for a handyman that could provide a consistent service.
Yeah, and well, I mean, your site is well done. Anybody listening, if you want to see how to do a site right and have great videos, I mean, go look at the site Best Handyman Boston. But how did you shoot those videos and edit them? Please say no.
I didn't do it myself. I have an entire team that works with us. We have freelancers working around the world through Upwork.com.
Oh, I love
Um,
Upwork.
yeah,
Yeah, we
that's
talk about
been
that on the show all the time.
Oh, it's just a great site and able to, that was a whole learning experience as well. But I have a whole team, a team that builds out content. I also have a technology team, with an IT department and somebody that I meet with once a week
Yeah.
to make sure our software is running properly. And we have all these integrations in the background with Jobber and all this other stuff. So it just makes life so much simpler. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Ryan, we've talked about Upwork on this show before, and I'm a big fan. I use Upwork as well. I've been using it since they were called something else. I can't even remember, Odesk or something like that. Years ago.
Oh, I didn't even know it was something before that. That's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
they merged with
Wow.
another company and then they renamed
Gotcha.
themselves as Upwork. Most of the changes have been positive, but for people listening, other trades pros listening, can you? And this is not even the topic of today, but why do
Yeah.
you use Upwork?
Um, at the end of the day, I really am just trying to maximize my time and get as much time with my family as I can. I swear, every day, that is my goal. I want to spend as much time as I can with my family. So, in order to do that, I have to think about how my businesses can serve me best. And that is without me in them constantly running them and delegating and doing all this different stuff, right? I try to
Right.
extract myself as much as I can. And working with freelancers and virtual assistants. We're actually just about to hire a brand new virtual assistant, a virtual admin to run the whole business next week. We start onboarding next week, and we're making a big shift this year. But having Upwork or that technology is limitless. It's
Yeah.
just limitless.
Yeah.
You can touch upon any facet of your business and get help or get, somebody working on it. It's just unbelievable.
It's such an important tool for a growing business because you can get, for instance, a virtual assistant or somebody to do graphic work or make PDFs, any really almost anything you need, and you don't have to hire a new full-time person, get them a desk, get them a phone, sit in the
That's
corner.
right. Yeah, your overhead
Nothing.
is, and well, that's the same thing with software, right? That's the same thing Jobber's doing if you think about it, right? So you have all these like backdoor integrations going on. So like one of the things we did when I built out this website for besthandymanboston.com is we built out this unbelievable jot form. It's a special form, actually, and we worked with a gentleman from Bangladesh on Upwork, and we have an amazing relationship now. And he does all our jot form for our both websites. And so we built out this jot form. And we were able, once Jobber opened up their API, we were able to use Zapier and make these integrations. So when people put in a request with our website, we're getting estimates back to them guaranteed in 1 to 2 business days without even going on the project. And all of that information automatically gets loaded into Jobber.
So Ryan can see I've got my hand up.
Yeah.
Sir, I have a question, sir. Can I ask a question, sir?
Yes, sir, please. Yes.
So on behalf of all the listeners, because not everybody comes to this with the same technical background that you do. Are you a super techie kind of guy, or?
I am. I became that way. I wasn't initially, but I just see the benefits in having software so much, and that's because I've owned businesses for so long.
Yeah.
I know, how valuable time is and how much that can save time.
Yeah. Well, we still haven't gotten into the interview, by the way, but I just want to tell people that software, the reason that you automate is because repetitive processes waste time. You can waste time doing the same thing again and again and again. And so Ryan just mentioned 2 specific words, or 3 words that probably threw people off: Jobber, API, and Zapier. So
yeah,
Jobber, we're going to talk about Jobber anyways today, so we probably don't need to mention that.
Gotcha.
An API, it's just a translation key between one software to another, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then Zapier. What's Zapier?
Oh, Zapier. Yes. The magic software. The
I know,
magic
it's
platform.
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. Zapier is able to, it's basically like a back door. And what this back door is, it's able to open up and take maybe an app like Google Docs or Google Drive and then connect it to another software or app where you traditionally would have been able to do that. And what that does is exactly like you said, that starts to automate a workflow for yourself and starts to take you out of the equation a little bit less. A little bit more and more.
Yeah. So it's the way I look at Zapier is it makes recipes for you, which is their language anyways, right? So if you imagine an octopus laying on the ice, I know who I'm saying this to because, when an octopus gets thrown on the ice in Boston, but an octopus it's got all its legs out, right? Well, that octopus is joining your Google Sheets with your Dropbox account and your Gmail and some other app. And it's the link that you use in the background for these other softwares or apps that don't normally talk to each other. So if you take a picture on your phone, it automatically sends it to a Google Drive called this. And then it sets a calendar reminder to do this. Or you can do crazy things, right? You could say, if the temperature drops below 10, send an email to this list that says time to salt. But something crazy, right?
While you're in the field, they're doing something else.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah. That's a great analogy. Great way to visualize that.
It's just an octopus. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's get to the point of today, because today we're here to actually talk about Jobber. When I went and I was looking for a Jobber expert because I kind of don't want to talk to the company, if that makes sense. Because they're just going to say, oh, Jobber's the best.
Yep. We're number one.
Yeah, we're number one. But that comes out as thin soup. But when I found you were really, really doing well with Jobber, I actually wanted to interview you, not them. So can you tell us, you run a handyman company. How big's your team? What's your crew size?
I have 1 person in the field.
Okay, that's great. Perfect.
Yep. So 1 person in the field, 1 person in the office, and a lot of freelancers.
Perfect. Freelance like subs?
No, well, freelancers, working through Upwork and stuff like that.
Right.
And then freelancers, subcontractors.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay.
Yep, vendors. Yep.
So that's perfect. A lot of the guys listening to the show are exactly like that. So what was life like before Jobber?
Oh,
Why did you need Jobber? And what does life look like now that you have Jobber?
yeah, that's a great question. So life before Jobber, we'll just go to the first business I started, the remodeling business. And we'll talk about when I first started. I'm handwriting estimates. So the very first estimate I ever sent, well, I didn't send it. I gave it to somebody, was a handwritten carbon copied estimate. I
CC,
did
yeah.
that for a couple years or so. Yeah, I mean, I did that for a couple years until I got myself a computer, and then I learned how to, do that. And so I'm like just kind of figuring stuff out as I go, like kind of like little Microsoft Word, and we're talking years are going by, right? Like 1, 2, 3 years, the business is kind of moving and growing, and I'm still like Microsoft Word. All right, I can make this a PDF, and like just figuring all that out. Um, that goes on for a while until I start another business about 10 years later,
Mm.
and say to myself, well, this is going to be a lot more volume. We're going from 10 to 15 big projects a year to maybe hundreds, right? So, which we're at over 300 jobs a year at this point. And
Jeez.
so I start looking around for a software to help me send estimates and invoices, because I'm used to, at this point, typing them up, making them PDF, sending it, saving it in a Google Drive. Then, and then when I got to do invoicing, I have to go into the PDF, look at the payment, make an invoice, send it out. I mean,
I
you can,
know.
and then I figure out, okay, I can make templates on Microsoft Word and all this other stuff. But still, it's still all this going in and clicking and remembering, and it's just too much. And then what about all the project photos and all the other stuff, right?
And the change
So,
orders.
oh, please, the change orders, all of it, just all this stuff that I'm supposed to remember somehow that I was trying to do in my remodeling business. And it was like almost impossible. So when I really started to work on this business model for the handyman business, I knew that it wasn't going to be like on these projects run for a couple months and payments are every 4 or 5 weeks. And, we're talking like people want to get, paid and quick. And we're running a model. We're not going out to look at site visits. We're doing it through online. We built out a form where customers don't have to have us come out to their house. They're going to write their estimate and send us all the info we need. We're going to send them an estimate back in 1 to 2 business days.
Wow.
So that was the model from the beginning over 3 years ago. So you can imagine how quick we got to turn these estimates over. So I'm out in the field working, right? And I get home, there's 8 estimate requests. So I got to take all those. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sometimes we get 10, 15, 20 a day. Oh
Wow.
yeah. So, and now the beauty is now, like, all that information, because I have Jobber and all this other stuff and this technology, all that information gets loaded right into the software without even me touching a button while I'm still out in the field or I'm even in the office.
Right.
So go to start this new business, and I'm like, all right, well, I've never really tried software. It's like nerve-wracking even, what is software? What does it do? I've only been able to do certain stuff on my phone or do certain stuff on the computer. I got to venture out a little bit. But here's the problem, Dominic. I don't always have the time to do it.
Yeah.
I'm out in the field 10 hours a day sometimes.
Or you're
12
driving to the
hours a
next
day.
job site. Yeah.
Or I'm putting out fires, or I'm dealing with something, right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
something always going on. So once I start to get a little time and I start to look into the software, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is going to be a game changer for this company. I mean, this is what a game changer. I get this software, and it's not Jobber. I try out, like, I download some app, like the Joist app or whatever on my phone. I'm using that. And it took maybe a week or 2 of doing jobs of getting those requests, and we're going, I'm like, wait a minute, this is weird. Wait, I know I just downloaded this software, and I'm kind of figuring out, but I already know it's not going to be enough.
Right.
There's a lot going on with this new business, right? Tons of photos, and like, where do I keep all these pictures? And we're going to have receipts and all this stuff, right? So I start looking around. I start signing up for all these different softwares. Some of them make you have
Free
to have,
demo trial.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, some of them
Yeah.
have to have a credit card. I'm making fake email addresses, anything, right? Just like, I got to try this stuff out. I got 5
Yeah.
different softwares.
Nobody makes
going.
fake email addresses. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The phone's ringing. They want to, they try to give you a free trial on the other phone they're calling, right? So finally, it came down to a couple softwares, and Jobber was one of them. And I'll tell you what sold me on these guys, right? Their customer service.
Oh.
I knew just being the guy that I was and kind of just getting familiar with some of the software, if I needed help, I was going to need to be able to speak to someone. And they offered almost a live line. So I could either do a chat box with them, or I could call a customer service line and someone's going to answer,
Talk
not
to a
15
human.
prompts, and they're going to talk to a human and they're going to help me out. So that kind of gave me a little bit of confidence, and I chose them. And it's just been I mean, within the first couple months, I'm like grabbing my wife and I'm going, Christina, you don't understand. Like, I am like, when we finish a job, I'm just hitting a couple buttons and the invoice is going to them. I'm not having to like come home. Now I'm not working all day, coming home. Hold on, guys, I'll be there in an hour or two. Then dinner comes, right? Then I want to spend this whole cycle of craziness, right?
Yeah.
So I say, wow, this is like working pretty good. So I say, well, why don't I invest a little more time in this software? And I start to really learn about it. And I find out it's not this big, scary beast that I think it is. And all of a sudden I have everything's organized. I'm not double booking appointments. I'm not forgetting about clients. Then as I get into the software, they're always updating it with product updates and software updates. So all of a sudden, like, now my closing rate goes up 20 to 30% because they're doing follow-up emails that I don't even have to touch anything. I can
it's preset in there to send the follow-up emails.
It's amazing. You just write out the little template, you set the permissions on how many days, exactly what time of day, and they're getting a follow-up every 2 days on a code I send out. And we just see it like 20% of our business go up just from that.
I keep hearing this about Jobber, and other people on the line may not have heard of this software, but lots of us use different software. A lot of people use QuickBooks, and it's like, yeah, we use QuickBooks, whatever. But the people that use Jobber are like you. They're like, this is insane. I love this thing. And so that's why I had to go find somebody and found you. It just helps so much. It sounds like it helps so much. You said you're coming home and you're getting estimates in your inbox completed by the customer. How did you flip that model around?
I'm going to tell you how right now. Owning a remodeling business for over, at this point, 15 years, my first business, right? I spent the first 10 years going out on site visits,
right?
Almost every Thursday, like 3 to 4, right? So we're talking 100, 150 jobs we're looking at. On average, we're doing 10 to 12, right? I just totally lost my train of thought. I apologize.
Well, it's just you were going out on these job visits and
yes.
I guess you're getting burned out doing so many of them. So you wanted to switch the model around, or switch the flow of information, I guess.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'm like spending all this time. I'm not getting awarded these projects. I'm spending all this time in gas and tolls. I'm in the city all the time. So I'm getting whaled with parking tickets. So I come out to look at a job, right? I come out and there's a $90 parking ticket. So it's like, I'm actually taking money out of my pocket every day. So when I see this opportunity for the handyman business, I say to myself, well, how can I change this where I'm not spending all this time? How could I make a business where I don't actually have to go there, where the client's going to do all the work, and I'll know that they're serious and engaging with us because they're going to have to fill out this form, put a couple pictures, right? Yeah. But we'll also leave them an option. If they do want us to come out there and look at the project, they're going to have to pay in full deposit before we even get there. And I create another service with them.
Well, hold on. People will say, Ryan, there's no way. You're full of BS. Nobody will ever pay to have an estimate. Nobody pays for estimates. They have to be free.
Yep.
And I don't know. What's the answer? Do people actually pay to have an estimate?
Yeah, $9,000 in estimates and on-site estimates this year will probably pretty much answer that. We did over 43 of them. So that's another service we created with another whole other, it's just
because you're automating.
I'm automating. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, I'm automating. So we're always getting paid. We're always getting paid. And with the software, we're able to take deposits and just, we're always cash ahead, right? And then once we get paid, we can do an instant payout. So we're not waiting to scan cards. And you can do that as well. There's an option for that, but we're not taking checks or cash and then have to go to the bank or give it to our, our secretary. She's going to go on Friday and put the checks. No.
Yeah. Cash causes problems.
That's right.
Actual cash does cause problems.
And this is an opportunity to really stay cash ahead, right? So you're always having cash come in. You can hit a button for instant payout. It's 1% extra, which is nothing in the grand scheme of things because you can build that into your estimate, right? Yep. And then you're getting your money directly in your bank account as soon as you hit that button within seconds.
Sounds really good. And so how are you not overbooking yourself?
We're letting the software do work
Oh,
its magic.
you just set the rules and say, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, everything is just, there's a whole calendar and everything's drag and drop, and everything goes through that software. It's a CRM as well, so we're able to save all of our photos and invoices and all these things.
Ryan sees that I have my hand up.
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Tuttle, I have a question, Mr. Tuttle. What's a CRM? Just for people that don't know.
Yeah, customer relationship manager.
Yeah.
It may be a couple other little.
It's like a sales tool. How you get somebody's name and information and then their phone number, and you keep notes as you're talking to them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And you can just save everything in there. So with every little client, you get a special little folder with them to keep all the photos and conversations you have and all these different little things. And it keeps track of all your phone calls with them and, all the emails and stuff like that.
Yeah. Is the customer interacting with Jobber, or is it just you and your crew that does input?
That's a great question. It's got so many capabilities that what it does is it allows the customer to actually have their own portal. So once we send them their very first estimate, they get their own special little link where they can then go in and view their estimates or view their all their invoicing and receipts, and they can also put in a special request with us if they'd like as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so everybody benefits from this software, not just the company using as well. Makes it a lot easier. And you can also put some links on your website if you have one, or your social media with the booking calendar as well. So you can have clients go right on your website or your social media and book jobs right there.
Gee. The software itself, does it only apply to a handyman business then, or is it, I know you also do tile setting, for instance. Would it work for somebody that just did a trade, drywaller only, painter only, gutter guy only?
Great question. I really tested this software out a lot along with others, and including some other major ones, right? You have some really huge like general contracting softwares that are just super in depth, and Jobber's had all the capabilities, that we need.
Good. And so can you guys input time? Like, you're on the Smith job today, you're on the Chan job this afternoon. Like, you can do time tracking?
Yeah, there's a lot of permissions inside so whatever employees or anybody on your team that you have that you want to let into Jobber, you can send them a simple email invite, and then you can set the permissions for them. So they can either be, an admin or an employee, and they can have certain permissions within the business. And from there, they're able to go right into the app. There's also an app that's associated with it. And it works. It's just a fantastic app, really. I mean, compared to a lot of the other apps, that I've used in softwares, this is extremely intuitive, and they keep it, very up to date. So clients are able to put requests in there, and the team can use it as well. They can go in, they can make notes, they can change their schedule around. And pretty soon, I think that they're adding a messaging, little messaging feature in there. So the team will be able to message to each other as well.
Oh, like inside, if I was a finisher on your crew, you could message me and.
Yes. And just to touch upon your question before, can anybody use this software? It depends what type of business you have. If you have a huge general contracting business and you're doing huge volume and home building and all that other stuff, I wouldn't suggest a software like this. If you're doing some light remodeling, or you're a specialty contractor and you're a tile setter or a mason or roofer, this is the software you want to use. You're able to just go in, you set up all your line items, set up all your templates. And then you can just copy and paste these estimates. It's unbelievable. I mean, we do a lot of, like, for instance, mirror hanging, right? Or picture hanging. So we're able to actually create those estimates with all the pricing right in them. And so when we get another similar request, we can just actually hit a button that makes the same exact estimate, and we just change the name in it,
just puts
and
their
send
name
it right out.
Okay. I worked with another company. They in 18 months they got to a $2 million run rate. So after 18 months, their sales were at the level where they would already be doing $2 million a year. And they're a maintenance services contractor for HOAs. You
Wow.
know, when you
Yeah.
go into an HOA and it's row houses or townhouses, and
Yep.
the garbage truck backs into the garbage bin, you know, the little wooden, you know, to this guy, he goes, those things are just ATMs for me. There's somebody's
Yeah.
backing into those every month. We're always fixing them. But which I'd never heard before, right? But he'll fix that or some windows or re-put speed bumps in the driveway, like maintenance stuff, right?
Yeah.
And he swears by Jobber. He
Yeah.
swears by it because
Yeah.
it was like his little, you know, it was almost like his little keyboard where he moved things around in the company to make the business work. So he said a lot of the same things you do, really, like easy
It's
to
the
use and just,
simplicity of it all.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's the nice part of it. It's just very simple. It's easy to just go in and use it. You're not pushing 100,000 buttons, trying to, getting frustrated, trying to figure it out. It's just simple. And like, you know, it's so nice to be able to finish a job, say goodbye to the client, let them know that we're going to send them the invoice, and walk out, get in the van, and I just hit one button. I don't have to
And
figure out how much I owe them. I don't
how
have to
much time
write
does that
anything.
save? Huh?
I don't even have to type their name in. Hi, Dominic. Their
Yeah.
name is already in there and it says hi. And we just hit, and they get that invoice right there. It's just unbelievable.
Did that help you with receivables? Like, because you've been
Oh,
at this for
yeah.
a long time, so you're doing your remodeling where you take a deposit, progress payments, etc., holdbacks. How's the cash flow management from this?
It's completely different. I mean, you want to talk about remodeling and the different, the cash flow. Like I was saying before, we're getting payments every 3-4 weeks. Some of those are earmarked on inspections and some other things, right? Or, now it's snowstorm and the project's held off for 2 weeks. We're not getting paid. We're constantly just trying to get paid, put money in.
Yeah.
Then with this business and having the capabilities we do with their options and their features, we're just, every time we invoice, we're getting paid within 24 hours, right? So every time we get that payment comes through, it's directly going into our bank account. We're constantly cash ahead. We're able to make better decisions. We have more confidence going ahead. We're able to do different stuff and market a little bit better and make better decisions as a team because we have this money in there.
Yeah, you're able to take money out as the owner.
It's changed a lot for us.
Yeah.
Well, we've set up, different profit accounts and different stuff like that. So, and just to always have that cash ahead in there it's just so advantageous. We're not waiting around for this money, and it's just completely different.
So where does it sounds really exciting, and you're very excited about it. What does the future look like for your company? Are you going to stay in the handyman services? Are you going to go back to remodel? What does the future look like?
Oof, I don't know. I mean, we just pitched the company a couple months ago to investors, so who knows what the future holds for
The whole
us
company.
Out in Boston.
You pitched the whole
business,
company to investors.
Yeah, 2 gentlemen up in Canada. They're owner operator, looking for a single owner operated company. And they reached out to us. They found us through their data and analytical team, and we had a serious meeting for a couple hours one day, and they were going to put the offer out there. But the company's new. I was going to try to run this model and try some different things, and just the money isn't there yet. But it kind of shifted what I'm doing, to be honest with you. This is my second business. I'm actually starting another one. It's already been, it's in the works. And I'm going to try to do a little something different with this, So what I'm really looking to do now is figure out how I can start another brand to start managing all these companies and these businesses. I'm training a full-time manager right now. We have a new admin coming in the office, virtual admin.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be stepping out of the field for the first time in my life, man. And I'm super excited about it. I've dedicated my whole life to this field. I've been working in the field since I was 19 years old. And, I didn't finish high school. I've been in this field for almost 20 years, a little over 20 years. I've had 2 spine surgeries, my bicep reattached last year. I've given everything to this business. I love it. And, I'm ready to step out of the field and do some new things. So I don't know, I'm just,
what we say, Ryan, this is a business coach.
I'm excited.
This is the business coach insight, is you're ready to start getting paid from the neck up. Right? Because at some point you're
exactly.
Let's start from your extremities, your fingers, your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders, your neck, your back, your hips, your shoulders, your knees. Something takes a toll. And at some point you've got to say, well, I've been doing this for a while. What am I learning? Right? Sounds like you're always learning. Sounds like you're doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how many people in your
Thank you.
entire company? Not the subcontractors who are doing like the internet stuff for you, but how many guys in the field do you have?
Just I just have one. That's it.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you had.
So I've been running,
And then do you use subs for anything, or is it
no,
just the
just one.
nice and
Yeah,
lean?
I use subs, a lot of subs. Yeah, I run very lean. I've always ran lean. I've always
Yeah.
ran very lean. That's how I learned how to run businesses. And I've always, like I said, when I first started out, my business was, it's funny. I look back now, when I first started out my business, I was paying, people to basically do all the work, and I didn't know how to do the work then, the manual labor and the carpentry and the physical labor and stuff like that, and all the skilled labor. Um, and then I spent the past 15 years out in the field. Now I'm going to spend, some time trying to figure to get out of the field.
The business
Right.
side.
So
Yeah.
I did this
Yeah.
little whole thing, and yeah, and it was just, I wanted to really learn the field. But I also didn't really know anything else. Right. That's all I knew. Right. So, I spent the past, 15 years really investing in myself and trying to figure out, ways I can get out of the field and not spend the rest of my life hunched over with my kids.
I, I love it. You're
That's
starting
the
to
honest to
realize what's
God truth.
important, right? What's important. Spend time with the kids.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know the reason I take my son
That's right.
fishing
Spend
so
time with the
much?
family. Have these businesses serve us.
Yeah. Sorry, Ryan, the reason I take my son fishing so much?
No, please.
So he doesn't
Yeah.
push me down the stairs when I'm old.
Smart thinking, huh?
I don't know. It's a guess.
Someone's thinking about you, huh?
It's my guess,
I might start doing the same thing.
Hey, son, you want to go fishing? Dad, why are you so interested in fishing? I don't know. I'm more worried about falling down the stairs.
Yeah, in 10, 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Perfect. I like that.
Yeah. But you know what? Yeah, you've hit on something important. We can't, the energy of youth when we're young, we think we can do it all. As we get older, I think by the time I was about 40, I started to realize I don't actually know everything. Right.
Yeah.
And actually, you said something earlier, which was brilliant, is at some point, leadership comes down to the power of the question, not the power of the answer.
Mm-hmm.
So there's different types of leadership, right? If you're a firefighter or a fire chief, it's do this now because there's a fire and I need safety and protocols, right? But there's about 6 types of leadership, and the leadership that inspires and builds teams, the leadership that your client sees and says, I like that guy, I like what his crew does, and we're going to call him back or refer him to work with the mother-in-law. That's the kind of leader people look at with confidence. And when you ask questions, and you asked this earlier, you said, how can I build a system where I don't make the same mistakes again? How can I do this and that? When you're asking questions that start with the sentence, how can I, or what if, then you're in what we call entrepreneur mode. And if you've read the E-Myth Revisited, you're right in that top high value.
Oh, yeah.
You're thinking at the highest level, or as we say, working from the neck up. So thought I'd give you that virtual high five.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that with me, because that's one of my favorite books. And they actually, just so you know, I don't know if you know this, and you probably do. You know a lot about that book. They also make a contractor version for that book as well. It's a little bit thinner and a little bit smaller, but it's for the contractor.
It's for the contractor.
They make that E-Myth for the contractor, which is it's a great little like smaller book to have with that bigger one.
Yeah.
So thank you very much
language.
for saying that. I appreciate that. It means a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad. And for anybody listening, that book is fantastic. It's it's not a new book. It's been around for a long time.
It's pretty much a foundational book, if you ask me, to be honest with you. So
when one of my first trade contracting businesses was a Christmas light installation company. So imagine I live in the Pacific Northwest, cedar shake roofs. Yeah. I had an aluminum ladder and a staple gun and an extension cord full of lights. It's amazing that I'm even alive, man. It's amazing, right?
I can just picture this.
Tunk, tunk, like Chevy Chase in Christmas
Vacation. Not hitting the wire every
yeah, hoping the whole time. But I was just working in the, like literally working in the business, just a kid, right? But as time goes on, you have to start thinking about systems and processes and how can you, scaling the business sounds sexy. But what we really want is what you said. I just want to be able to play with the kids. I want to get home at a normal time. I want to take them skating. I want to, I don't know, hang out with my wife. As much as I don't want to, I actually want to go grocery shopping with my wife so we can talk. And I
Talk,
can't
yeah,
do
just
that if
catch
I'm
up.
just balls out all the time, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's a great way. It's the same way I try to approach it as well. Is like, um, I mentioned a couple times that something I've been really trying to hone in on this past year is, maturing with the business, allowing these businesses to serve you as well. So we're not always serving the business, right? Running around just doing all this stuff. So, I mean, one of the best ways I've been able to do that the past year is, and this is just a tip for anyone listening, is to document stuff, write it down. So, like, we got this new virtual admin coming in next week. Because I've been working with people from Upwork and these
Yeah.
virtual assistants around the world, I've already built out a lot of stuff. So I'm able to, when this person comes aboard, this woman, Michaela, I'm able to give her a whole folder of stuff and say, here, this is our company values and our focus. And, this is how you answer an estimate. And these are our automatic email responses and,
Yeah.
just little stuff like that, so.
But all of them save you time. All of them save
Every
time.
single one.
Yeah.
And that adds up over the years. We actually got an email, right, the other day. We got an email from Zapier, and I'm pretty sure I saved it. Here it is. For the year, our friends in the lab ran the numbers and told us that you automated 788 tasks and saved approximately 35 hours of work you would have to normally do manually this year.
Boom. There you go.
So
That's you just took a week off of work.
Just like
35 hours. You know what I mean? Like that's a week's worth of work of forwarding this email, attaching this file, resaving a Dropbox link to a Gmail folder. Right. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
That's
for short money a month. For short money a month, right? To have a software running to be able to do that. Wouldn't be able to do that without software.
Yeah, I use Zapier here as well. I use Zapier email automations. Yeah. It's funny, people don't understand how you can hack email automations to even do internal tasks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you can actually use email with your CRM and set up your own people internally to send reminders to them to do certain things. Like make sure if you're still doing manual time cards, for instance, you can use an email automation to remind them to submit their time card and put a link in the email, right? And say, fill it in here. Now, if you're using T-Sheets, as you grow, you use other tools, but you can hack these things. It's really not very expensive, especially when you put it against the time, the revenue responsibility per hour that you and I have as owners. Now we got to be doing high level stuff or we're literally stealing from the company. Literally.
That's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yes. And I've been in that position before, where the first business I started, I'm like all over the place for years trying to figure it all out. I'm working, 6, 7, 8 days a week. Mess, right? And then as you grow, you start to figure out, like, I don't want to be in that mess. Well, how am I in this mess? Well, I got too much stuff on my plate. Well, how am I going to figure that out?
There's the questions again.
Help me with that.
How can I? What if? How can I? What if? That's the entrepreneur talk of the email. Yeah. Are we allowed to ask what this third business is going to be? Is this a holding brand for your other local companies, or you don't have to say if you can't say if you're under an NDA?
It's not. I can't say it yet, just because I really hoping to make this a national company in America. I was trying to do that with Best Handyman Boston. I just really realized after I spoke with these investors that I did not have the capital to do this. So, but it's going to be a tile business, and it's going to be something that's going to knock people's socks off, because it's just making the client's day so much easier and brighter. Someone that's coming to look for something that we're going to be able to provide for them is just going to have a fantastic experience just by clicking on our website. So you can just imagine if that's already the experience they're having, imagine the experience they're going to have with our team all throughout that. And, that's what we're able to do with all these businesses. We have over, I think, 200 to 250 5-star reviews between both businesses, so
we're going to, what, I should have you back. I should have you back, Ryaan, to talk about how you got all those reviews, because that's another thing that is. It's
got a great system.
It's an unknown.
Yeah, it's something.
Of course, you have a system.
I
love it. You have systems.
Those reviews are buckets of gold. I mean, we get a lot of people with our handyman business trying to tip us, and I say, you know what? Please, sir, honestly, keep that $100 bill. I really appreciate that. That's extremely thoughtful. But if you could give us a Google review, I would super appreciate that even more. Right? Because that Google review is going to introduce my customers to 100 more customers. That $100 isn't doing anything for me.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I think I will have you back for something, Ryaan, and maybe it's on how to get reviews.
I'd be super excited about that. Absolutely.
If people want to get in touch with you or find out more or even just follow you, how do we do that? How do we find you in the world?
You could just you could check us out on our social media on our Instagram page. That's pretty much primarily where we can be found and you can reach us. It's the handle is at Best Handyman Boston, and that's our Instagram handle. And you can find out a little bit more us on there and the work we do. And there's a little bit more about us in the link in the bio. And there's actually a free sign up for Jobber in there as well. You can get 20% off if you want to get in there and take a peek at that. And there's no credit card to sign up.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to try Jobber, they can go through you to get a link to do it.
Sure. Yeah. They can get a referral link. They just pop right on our Instagram handle, and there's
Nice.
you hit the link in the bio. It's right in there. It says right in there, Jobber.
Okay. If somebody's looking for the name, for Ryan's name, obviously you'll see it in the when you click on the podcast episode. But Ryan's spelled with 2 A's, and then Tuttle is spelled with 2 T's.
Yes, that's right. My mom is still at Woodstock. So
I was going to say, your mom is a Scrabble master. She just knows how to make the most out of the cards, or what do you call them? The letters. Yeah. Well, Ryan, thank you so much. I appreciate having you here. I love your energy, man. Like the enthusiasm you have has for sure spilled over into somebody else today, and you made people smile and given them direction, which I think is pretty high praise.
Thank you so much. I really had such a great time speaking with you. I really appreciate this opportunity, and it's just been fantastic speaking with you. Thank you.
All right, Ryan, have a great day.
Take care.